talking about beating a dead horse, let's talk about Indiana Jones 5 and the Dial of Destiny. Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny to ring up around 60 million. Oh, God, Jesus. Only 60 million is tracking for 60 million. Here's why. Early box office outlook. Well, the trailers haven't done it justice. They haven't sold it yet. Like, I was intrigued to see what the trailers were going to show us, but it's not a trailer that I went back to revisit. It didn't get me really all that hyped. In fact, I've kind of lost interest in it a little bit. And I think I'm not the only one saying that. The budget, again, with these inflated budgets, guys. What is going on here? Indiana Jones 5 is apparently 294 million budget. That's like shocking. It's getting to the point where you're saying that these inflated budgets, like with Fast 10, Indiana Jones, Transformers, it's irresponsible. It's very irresponsible by the studios to be pumping out these movies with these budgets. You hear even for things like Killers of the Flower Moon, that's going to be on Apple TV Plus, is $200 million. No, you got to stop this, studios. You have to stop this. I plead with you. Stop with these budgets. And if you can't make it for that amount of money, then don't make it. Rewrite the script, tool it. Because what you're doing is you're putting in a bunch of scenes with visual effects that look like visual effects, like a car driving down a dam. Indiana Jones riding through a parade of people with Harrison Ford's CGI face on a stunt actor. We don't need to see that. Retool the script. Change the story. Because if you don't have that emotional backbone to a story, and you're just filling it with fluff and visual effects, people are going to see right through that. And when you've rolled the dice with a budget of 294, for God's sakes, yes, it screams very irresponsible. And when you get opening tracking numbers for 60 million plus, you are not in a position to make that money back. And I think that so many studios this year are going to be facing this kind of a strong reprimand by the audience, because we talk to the studios by showing that we're not going to show up to these movies because of the quality. The quality's also gone down because, again, they're just berating us with these CGI schlock fests that don't add to the story, that don't have that emotional backbone that appeal to it, things like that make you go, oh, that story, you got to check it out for this story. They want to try to wow you with the visual effects and say, you got to check it out because of the visual effects, right? But James Cameron does it, James, with Avatar. Yes, but I know that people don't like me saying this, but Avatar at least still has that compelling story that people are intrigued with, right? Cameron knows how to pull at those heartstrings and highlight the emotional backbones of the stories. Cameron's been a master at that throughout his entire career. Mangold, he did it with Logan, and I'm hoping that he can do it with Dial of Destiny. I really do. 60 million has got to be disappointing as an opening tracking for Indiana Jones. And Transformers Rise of the Beast this weekend apparently is on the same kind of course, right? Let's see if there's a tomato meter yet for this, because it did have some early screenings. Indiana Jones, it wasn't. Oh yeah, 54%, guys. It debuted at Cannes, right? And it was like it started off like around the 30s, and it's slowly starting to climb. Again, I hope this is a movie just like the Transformers movie that we just talked about, where people come out of the audience saying that. Coming out of the theater, the audience is just like, yes, it was a nice, fun popcorn flick. It was cool to see Harrison Ford back in this. It didn't look like they were on sets like Crystal Skull, and it was a nice, great send-off for this character. Go see this movie. That's what I want to hear coming out of this. And hopefully there'll be good enough word of mouth just like that so that it would get more than a $60 million opening. My God. Because the studio is very aware that Kingdom of the Crystal Skull was not very well received. It was a if that was going to be the final Indiana Jones film, they realized that it was going to be kind of like a, ooh, guys, maybe we shouldn't even have done this one. Let's not do that again. And they really wanted to make Dial of Destiny work. So I'm hoping that best case scenario, if it's going to be $60 million, guys, if best case scenario is that, okay, it underperformed at the box office, but the people that went out and saw it at least say that they really enjoyed it, that it's got some staying power and will have like a cult lasting, that the majority, the consensus of people will be saying that Dial of Destiny was a solid ending for Indiana Jones' character. Yeah, that's what you want to hear people say. It's a bummer that it didn't do well at the box office. We've seen films that haven't done well at the box office, but have gone on to that kind of notoriety, right? And that's, I guess, you don't want that to be your saving grace when your budget is, God, for irresponsible executives. Irresponsible. That's what I'm going to tag them as for budgets like this. Hollywood's got to stop with this. It's ludicrous. Absolutely ludicrous. And yes, you can deliver a good Star Wars film for $100 million. You can. Stop with the tent cities. With the trailer cities that they set up, they block off huge blocks of cities and then set up these big tent cities for these actors to come in and, you know, get pampered in their own trailers with a huge staff of like makeup artists and vocal coaches and stuff. Don't use those people that require that. Guys, there's lots of actors out there, good actors, that would just love to have a chance of maybe even sharing one trailer with like a team of actors where there's ways around this. Build up those smaller actors. I'm ranting now, but again, it's just you see the problem, right? You see the problem with these budgets and stuff. It's a bummer, and I'm rooting for Indiana Jones. I am. Chris Over says I heard that we talked about Twister. Do you think they'll make a Little Mermaid sequel after 2023? No. Again, the Little Mermaid had the budget of like 200 plus, and it's not going to make 500 million at the box office to try to be profitable. I don't even know if Little Mermaid's going to break even. As much as I like that film, I really did. Little Mermaid 343, so it's still got to make 150. It's opening this weekend in Japan. If it adds another 100 million from the Japanese market, maybe. I heard that they might be doing the Thing 2 sequel John Carpenter announced. Yeah, John Carpenter didn't announce it. He just said it would be nice to go back to that and revisit it. I hope, John Carpenter's been off from directing stuff. He's semi-retired. He's not officially retired, but if he came back and did something like that, that would be cool to see. John Carpenter, again, okay, John Carpenter is a really good example of somebody in the industry that understood budgets. He understood that, okay, I'm writing this, I'm directing this, I'm going to write the soundtrack for this so that we can keep, everything contained to a smaller budget. He worked with familiar actors, just like Cameron, just like Christopher Nolan does, and he just, made these productions. You saw that. It was evident with things like The Thing and his other productions like Escape from New York and stuff. He brought in the same kind of crew around him. Very cognizant of that budget so that it would not get too high, and working in with those constraints. John Carpenter, I would love to see him come off the bench and put something else out there before he decides to really hang it up. I would think John Carpenter would be cool if the two guys aren't coming back from Scream 6, the guys who did Scream 5 and 6. Wouldn't it be awesome if John Carpenter did Scream 7? That would be fantastic, right? Anyway, Barbie is set for 45 to 55 million. Okay, I think they'll be happy with that. Oppenheimer. 30 to 35 million. Now, Oppenheimer is going to have a few obstacles ahead of it because Oppenheimer is rated R. It's 3 hours long. Unfortunately, Oppenheimer is going to be having that budgetary problems. But it's going to be saved by it's the Oscar potential, right? Actually, Oppenheimer. See, again, Nolan knows how to handle the budget. He made Oppenheimer an IMAX film, 3 hours, $100 million. Why can't other people do this? Why can't you make an Indiana Jones film for $100 million? You can. You should be able to. So that when you do have a lower opening weekend numbers, it's not that big of a deal. Because as long as it's in the summertime, you got some staying power. If like Rise of the Beasts, if Little Mermaid live action was $100 million, they would be like, yay, we're in the clear now. We're making money. Studios got to dial it back. They do. What the heck's going on here? Oh God, I'm sorry. I'm not going to try to butcher that